Hey all, Mr. Rip here with a quick review of the new elemental hero called Mythia. People are asking, should I get her? How do we counter her? What team should she be on? And, we can address that in maybe a later video, but let's focus on the first question. Is she worth getting? I would say absolutely, unequivocally, yes. She's a game changer and a must-have. I would say she's an S+ tier, meaning she's the highest ranking hero. And she's definitely a game changer, changes the meta of the game, and just, you got to get her. So let's take a look at why she's so amazing. And in my opinion, probably the best hero since Excessium. So, okay, so when we're looking at her ultimate, it's called Elemental Grace, right? So Mythia starts off level 1, reducing damage by 25% for all allies, and increasing allies' damage by 25% for 8 seconds. So additionally, if the enemy directly across from her, fires off their ultimate, all allies will get a shield equal to 180% of their max HP for 5 seconds, and that cannot be dispelled. The buff-debuff maxes out at 35 and 35%, and then, she effectively replaces a lot of the buff-debuff heroes. They'll still have their use cases, and can actually supplement Mythia. But she's kind of in a class all on her own. And so you might be thinking, okay, well, she's awesome. I can counter that. But if you take a look at her, T1 and T2, she fires her ultimate right at the beginning of the battle, right? So essentially, when you unlock the T1, she'll do her ultimate at the start of the battle, and then T2 will extend it from 8 to 12 seconds. So if you're thinking, hey, I'm going to counter her maybe using Oberon Silence or some other type of counter, you really can't counter it. You're going to have to wait till 8 seconds or 12 seconds if a T2 is unlocked. And so 12 seconds is the turn of a battle. So essentially it can't be countered, but you can look at ways to mitigate it. And we can talk about that in a separate video. But let's go back to her skills. So Primordial Form. So basically when control effects hit her, she ultimately negates them, and then the source of the the control caster or casting, they'll lose their HP for 150% of Mythia's attack for 3 seconds. And then that'll bump up to 180% at level 2, and then at level 3 it can be triggered even more often, so at every 6 seconds. When we're talking about Etheric Deluge, she heals herself and the weakest ally for 4.5% of the max HP per second for 8 seconds. And then during that time, 30% of the damaged ally receives will transfer to Mythia. And then that rate will bump up to 6% at level 4. And then when we look at Eternal Protector, when Mythia falls below 50% for the first time, or she takes fatal damage, she'll disappear and guard the weakest ally. And then both of them will recover 10% of their HP for 7 seconds. At level 2, the weakest ally, their attack will bump up to 60%, and then both of them will recover 200 energy per second. And then at level 3, both of them become untargetable. So obviously she requires some kind of investment to be this amazing, but she's absolutely worth it, right? If you can't even, 2 of them become untargetable, that's pretty tight. And then, so lastly, let's check out her elemental skill, which I think is just amazing. So it's called Mystic Font, and then during Elemental Grace, which is her ultimate, all allies will receive 30% energy recovery. At level 2, you'll get a 40% AGI boost, and then receive a shield that restores its shield value by 10% of their max HP per second. So that's just crazy. And then level 3, her ultimate, when she casts her ultimate, all of her allies will receive a 50% damage reduction taken by other enemy ultimates, and then increase the damage of their ultimates by 50%. So just phenomenal. Think about like Grobnik, where he has T1 and T2, where he basically has a spread of 40 and 50% between damage and attack from enemy and ally. You can effectively negate that, which is a pretty awesome ability. So she's just a beast. Imagine pairing her with Gaian. So Gaian's T2 provides 24 points of AGI. Now you get another 40 from her, and then maybe add in Solian, where his T2 provides 60 points of dodge for heroes that are over 50 points of AGI. And you got a pretty great team, at least the base. So anyway, I think you know, we're all pretty much still experimenting with her, but hands down, an amazing character that everybody has to have. So anyway, let me know what you think. If there's any, you know, anything to add or things that you can think about to counter or mitigate her, you know, let me know. That's just my opinion. Take care.